Com Press Briefing, Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina. The ongoing situation with the Union of the Fire Department. Training Conference in Curaçao, 2026. USM staff meet, new Board of Directors. During campus introduction session, KPSM strengthens youth engagement through school visits. From the island, Sint Maarten, this is SXM Daily News for February 4th, 2026. The ongoing situation with the Union of the Fire Department. First of all, we're going to start last week, on Thursday, and what transpired yesterday, and from there, I'm going to go back in history for us to get an understanding actually of what is going on between the government and the Union of the Fire Department. First of all, members of Parliament found it so urgent. The Prime Minister said at the Com Press briefing on Wednesday,
with the Union of the Fire Department. First of all, we're going to start by last week Thursday and what transpired yesterday, and from there I'm going to go back in history for us to get an understanding actually what is going on between the government in its dispute with the Union of the Fire Department. First of all, members of Parliament found it so urgent to have a meeting last week Thursday because they wanted per se to meet with the government concerning the dispute that is going on. I informed the President of Parliament of my absence because of my presence in Aruba. That was communicated to the members of Parliament. As the members of Parliament know and demands, they always want a replacement for the minister that they are requesting to come to Parliament. In this case, the Deputy Prime Minister, Mrs. Grisha Heiliger, was present for me. At that particular moment, it became, and I find it regrettable that they demand always the replacer to be there if the minister in charge cannot be present. And all of a sudden, they turn it around and it becomes a problem, not a problem of the country that we are encountering with this dispute, but it becomes now a problem that they're going to escalate on political level. And I am in disapproval of this. Okay, so now they walked away last week Thursday because actually there was a political agenda to be executed and they didn't get through with it. I thought that that meeting was to see how we can contribute, all of us, to get to a solution for the dispute between government and the Union of the Fire Department. Because of the emergency and urgency of the case, Parliament decided for us to organize a second meeting as follow-up on the one of Thursday last week, and that one was planned to take place yesterday because of the urgency of this case that is threatening the security and safety and well-being of the people of Sint Maarten. It was on request of a few members of Parliament, and it was very urgent for all of us to have this meeting. After considering their walking away last week Thursday, I decided that I will be well prepared for everybody to be well informed about what is going on. Not to get there, to my surprise, to realize that a majority of the opposition decided that they will not be present and we could not get a quorum to proceed with what they themselves indicated as something very urgent for the country of Sint Maarten. I am again very, very worried with this development because I do believe this is a serious matter that has to be solved. not for us to be invited to discuss the problem, for certain members of parliament to walk away on us, and secondly, for us, because of their request and their consideration that it is very urgent for us to try to accommodate a follow-up meeting Tuesday, that was yesterday, for us to reach there and not having sufficient members of parliament to attend the meeting, so we didn't have a quorum, and at that particular moment, we had to again adjourn the meeting. I think this development is showing that this problem for certain members of parliament has nothing to do with the intention and the responsibility to see how they can contribute for a solution for this country. And what has happened last week, Thursday, and what has transpired yesterday shows to the world and to St. Martin that everybody is realizing that the intention of these members of parliament is not to contribute constructively to this country, but to play politics the whole day. They are not interested to solve the serious impasse that we are in. They are only busy with one aim, and that is to play politics on the back of civil servants in this country. And I realize how the comments are going around in St. Martin after these two developments. We all realize that those politicians are not getting the traction that with the people of St. Martin. I personally believe it's a disgrace people of St. Martin that we have at this particular moment a parliament that is playing with an issue and a matter that is of essence and of safety and security for the country of St. Martin. After stating this, I still want to inform the people of St. Martin about actually what it's all about. It's about a covenant that we agreed upon to negotiate with each other. That's the first one. I will come back on that one. Secondly, it's about a placement process for the fire department workers. The third one is the retroactive payment of the fire department workers. The other item is the function book, and the other one is the mediator. And ultimately, a commitment letter that transferred into an agreement letter. Let's go back. We're going to start with the covenant. The covenant are some technicalities in your work agreement that you have with government, and they have a list of items that has to be discussed to get to an agreement on a covenant. We have no problem as a government to handle the covenant. We even decided that we are going to appoint persons from the fire department as a committee and a group from government to sit together and negotiate the covenant. At a certain moment, the union decided that they are going to decide for government who the persons are that can represent government in a negotiation. Exactly, Mrs. Shaw, the reaction that you're showing there, I had that same reaction. So you have a government that uses its institution, its organization with his professionals to sit and negotiate, and the fire department has the freedom to appoint those persons that they want. There is no problem with that.
Member of Parliament Egbert Doran is calling for greater policy alignment within the Council of Ministers, stating that public-private partnerships are a valuable and necessary tool for national development, but must be applied consistently, including in support of the country's public schools. Doran pointed to two recent government positions that, when viewed together, raise legitimate questions about coherence in infrastructure policy. On one hand, the Ministry of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, VROMI, announced a partnership with the Gioia Group to rehabilitate the Simpson Bay Dock and surrounding public facilities, highlighting public-private cooperation as a pillar of modern governance, a move he applauds. On the other hand, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, ECYS, has taken the position that infrastructure works cannot be accepted as donations for public schools, citing liability and accountability concerns. We are clearly seeing two different approaches to the same concept, Doran said. Public-private partnerships are being embraced as innovative and workable when it comes to economic and public infrastructure, and that is a good thing. It shows that the government recognizes it cannot do everything alone, but that same openness must also extend to our schools. Doran stressed that his position is not about opposing development initiatives or questioning the value of partnerships in sectors like tourism and maritime infrastructure. Rather, he argues that the same governance capacity used to facilitate large-scale public works should also be used to address long-standing challenges in the education sector. If the government can structure agreements, oversight mechanisms, and accountability frameworks for major public assets, such as docks and police facilities, then it stands to reason that similar safeguards can be developed for school infrastructure. Doran stated, "The issue is not whether partnerships work. The issue is where we choose to apply them." According to Doran, concerns about liability and quality control raised by the Minister of ECYS should not become a blanket barrier, particularly when classrooms across the country continue to struggle with heat, aging facilities, and deferred maintenance. "No one is suggesting unregulated or unsupervised work," he said. "What parents and teachers are asking for is the same level of creativity and problem-solving that government is already demonstrating elsewhere. If partnerships are good policy, they should be good policy for all critical public needs, including education." Doran concluded by urging the Council of Ministers to bring greater consistency to its approach, noting that public-private cooperation should be guided by shared national priorities rather than siloed ministerial interpretations. "Our development strategy must be balanced," he said. "Economic infrastructure and educational infrastructure are not competing interests. They are both investments in the future of St. Martin." On Wednesday 28th and Thursday 29th January, police forces, chain partners, and training institutes gathered in Curaçao for the annual training conference. The two-day conference focused on how to organize a sustainable, professional, and regionally aligned education and development system for law enforcement. The conference emphasized the importance of clearly identifying training needs and setting long-term priorities. On the first day, the Platform of Training Coordinators Caribbean (POC) discussed both content-related and organizational themes, including qualification dossiers, basic police training (BPO), integrated professional training (IBT), innovation, twinning, accreditation, and governance. On Wednesday 28th and Thursday 29th January, police forces, chain partners, and training institutes gathered in Curaçao for the annual training conference. The two-day conference focused on how to organize a sustainable, professional, and regionally aligned education and development system for law enforcement. The conference emphasized the importance of clearly identifying training needs and setting long-term priorities. On the first day, the Platform of Training Coordinators Caribbean (POC) discussed both content-related and organizational themes, including qualification dossiers, basic police training (BPO), integrated professional training (IBT), innovation, twinning, accreditation, and governance. BPO refers to the foundational training program for new police officers, providing them with the essential knowledge and skills required to perform police duties. IBT is the mandatory ongoing training for serving officers aimed at maintaining and improving operational skills such as use of force, arrest techniques, and professional readiness. These discussions resulted in a series of decision cards, which were presented on the second day to the College of Police Chiefs, CVK, for further discussion and decision-making. The conference demonstrated that significant progress has been made in recent years in terms of professionalism and regional cooperation. Examples include joint regional training for IBT instructors currently taking place in the Netherlands and the development of a structured approach to qualification dossiers. Offences serves as a pilot dossier, and this approach will also be applied to BPO in 2026.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
The University of St. Martin, USM, recently welcomed members of its board of directors during an on-campus introduction session on Thursday, January 29, 2026. The engagement provided an opportunity for staff and board members to become acquainted as the university continues to strengthen its governance and institutional support structure. Members of the management team were also present and had the opportunity to meet and engage with the new board members. The board of directors has expanded with the addition of new board members Yunelda Cairo, LLM, and Dr. Sharina Fleming, alongside continuing members Valerie Gitterson Pantoflet, M.Ed., Drs. Vasco Dahl, Mr. Benson Pompier, Al Wathi, and Dr. Shireen Daniel. Representatives from the USM Endowment Foundation were also present, including newly inducted member Mr. Ashkan Roberto Richardson, Mr. Danny Ramchandani, and Mr. George Groh. During the session, USM staff members introduced themselves and shared their roles within the institution, creating a welcoming and professional environment focused on strengthening connections between governance and staff. Staff expressed appreciation for the opportunity to meet members of the board of directors and shared optimism about continued growth and development within both the university and the foundation. The engagement reflects USM's ongoing commitment to collaboration, transparency, and institutional advancement. The University of St. Martin remains dedicated to fostering strong relationships between its board of directors, foundation partners, and internal teams to support student success, organizational growth, and continued service to the St. Martin community and beyond. The police force of Sint Maarten, KPSM, advises the public that persistent and ongoing illegal parking along Rhine Road in the Maho area and at the entrance of Beacon Hill Road has forced the police to take decisive enforcement action. Despite repeated complaints, warnings, and preventive measures implemented over an extended period, traffic violations at this location have continued, creating serious disruptions to the free flow of traffic and posing risks to road users and pedestrians. As the preventive measures proved ineffective, KPSM transitioned to active enforcement. On Tuesday, February 3, 2026, police officers conducted enforcement actions at the location, during which fines were issued and several vehicles were towed for violating traffic regulations. These actions were taken in accordance with the clearly posted "No stopping, no parking" signs present in the area. Over the past several weeks, KPSM has received multiple requests and complaints regarding illegal parking along Rhine Road leading into the Maho area, as well as at the entrance of Beacon Hill Road. Community officers assigned to the Maho area have over time implemented several measures to discourage drivers from parking on sidewalks. In collaboration with concerned parents and community members, concrete dividers were placed to prevent vehicles from parking on pedestrian walkways. However, drivers have adjusted their behavior and have begun parking on the roadway itself. This has resulted in a narrowing of the entrance to Beacon Hill Road and the roundabout leading into Maho, significantly affecting traffic circulation in this heavily used area. As part of its ongoing efforts to engage positively with the youth of Sint Maarten, the police force of Sint Maarten, KPSM, has visited several schools over the past few weeks to connect with students and promote awareness and education. In this context, officers from the traffic department of KPSM visited the Sister Magda Primary School on January 28, 2026. During this visit, officers shared important information on traffic rules, general road safety, and helped prepare students for their upcoming traffic examinations. KPSM believes that early education and positive interaction are key to building responsible road users and strengthening trust between the police and the community. KPSM takes this opportunity to thank the management of Sister Magda Primary School, as well as the officers who took part in these meaningful engagements with the youth.
Now for the weather forecast, tonight through Wednesday evening. Generally cloudy with isolated showers. Surface winds, tonight through Wednesday evening. North-northeasterly to easterly with a light to gentle breeze at 5 to 10. State of the sea, slight to rough waves, swells, 3 to 8 feet outlook through Thursday evening. Partly cloudy with brief showers likely. And now your 3-day forecast.
Social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah.
Island Gems Charity Foundation, the island's longest-running charity organization, has once again extended its annual support to 4 dedicated animal welfare groups: Animal Defenders, St. Martin, I Love My Island Dog, SXM Paws, and the Animal Welfare Foundation. The annual donations help fund essential initiatives, including sterilization programs and medical care. Slan Gems has deposited a total of US $1,000 per organization into the group's preferred veterinary clinics to cover spay and neuter procedures for dogs and cats. This annual contribution forms part of the Foundation's ongoing efforts to help control the island's feral and abandoned animal population. The deposits create prepaid accounts that the organizations can draw on throughout the year for these specific procedures. Each of the beneficiary organizations plays a vital role in improving animal welfare across the island. Animal Defenders St. Martin focuses on sterilization, vaccination, and feeding programs for stray animals, while also advocating for compassionate care. I Love My Island Dog works to reduce pet overpopulation through spay and neuter efforts and assists in rehoming stray dogs. SXM Paws rescues, rehabilitates, and rehomes abandoned animals while actively promoting responsible pet ownership. Animal Welfare Foundation, AWF, organizes large-scale sterilization campaigns and conducts educational outreach aimed at reducing the number of stray animals. The donations were lodged with the following veterinary clinics for I Love My Island Dog Association: Veterinary Clinic, Animal Defenders, Animal Care Clinic, AWF, Animal Hospital St. Martin, and SXM Paws, Island Vet. Founded as an all-women charitable organization, the Island Gems Charity Foundation raises funds through its annual costume gala, with proceeds supporting non-profit initiatives that benefit projects and communities on both sides of the island. Over the years, the foundation has funded projects in education, healthcare, environmental conservation, and animal welfare. We are proud to continue our annual support for these organizations that work tirelessly to improve the lives of animals on the island. Their dedication to rescue, sterilization, and awareness is making a real difference, said Alita Singh, president of Island Gems Charity Foundation. This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.